Hey guys, a common question I hear asked is, do war veterans miss being at war? And if the answer happens to be yes, then why do they miss it? I'm going to approach this question from my perspective. While I was in the Army, I participated in the Iraq War for a total of 3 years, among other deployments, so I largely speak from personal experience. First, I doubt most veterans miss every aspect of being in combat because there are genuinely fearful moments when you feel that your life can be taken from you in a split second. Whether it's a roadside bomb, a hidden sniper on a rooftop, or a suicide bomber potentially crashing into you, and that reality can create a lot of anxiety. So, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that most people would not want to add those extra layers of anxiety and stress to their lives. I know I sure wouldn't. Another consideration is that not every war is the same. Now, sure, there are some commonalities, such as you're away from your loved ones, people around you could be dying, and your life is at a heightened risk. But overall, the tempo and danger varies greatly depending on what war you are involved in and what role you are functioning in during the campaign and the missions. For example, we had soldiers in Iraq and Afghanistan that stayed on the military bases, and their job was to process administrative paperwork every day. That is how they were supporting the mission. We also had some soldiers whose sole purpose was to leave those base camps and search for roadside bombs and search houses for the enemy. And surprisingly, both of these soldiers were often paid the exact same salary, regardless if they stayed on the base, filing papers, or off base, searching and destroying bombs. So, with all the constant danger, what is there to miss? First, there's the structure of day to day life. As a typical soldier deployed to a combat zone, our basic needs are normally met. We do not have to worry about too many distractions, pulling our focus away from the mission. For example, for many of us, there is no nagging utility bill to worry about, no social gatherings to attend or plan, like birthday parties, anniversaries, or house parties. We do not have to worry if our car has a half a tank of gas or if it needs an oil change. A soldier is in a foreign country for one primary reason, and that is to conduct military missions. And almost all of the minor elements and mundane responsibilities of a day to day life from the United States, those are removed. And in many ways, having everything that we're accustomed to and having everyone that we love suddenly removed from our lives for a year or longer, it can create a deep sense of sadness, but in other ways, it can also feel somewhat liberating. Your previous responsibilities while you were at home at times are less noticeable. So much so that it can almost feel rather overwhelming to return home to an ordinary life again. I remember the first time returning back from the Iraq War in the spring of 2004, and the feeling I experienced when leaving the airport in Missouri, seeing regular American citizens just walking around casually in a carefree manner, and seeing all different types of cars on the road, the McDonald's, the Burger Kings, the Taco Bell, and other fast food restaurants that were open and available at a moment's notice. I no longer had to worry about sleeping in an armored vehicle or in some blown up stone building with 20 other guys. I didn't have to worry about potential roadside bombs exploding on me, eating MREs, or having to conduct mission planning. I was surprised to dig back into my wallet and find my driver's license there and to actually sit behind the wheel and drive my own car like a regular person. It was almost surreal. Another reason veterans find themselves missing war is the lack of camaraderie back home. During wartime deployments, soldiers are constantly surrounded by and live with other soldiers. And even if they don't like each other initially, they are still willing to die for one another. When you know that the person next to you is willing to sacrifice their life for yours, it creates a special type of feeling and bond. This is a powerful dynamic that can forge close relationships. Soldiers also can trust that their teammates can deeply empathize with their situation or understand them and what they're going through. It can be difficult to believe that a regular civilian that has never been in a combat situation can relate to what you have endured, and as a result, what you might be feeling. In everyday life in the United States, people do not live within close quarters with 20 or 30 people at a time. They do not search for bombs together, get shot at together, and basically suffer together. It becomes like an extended family or tribe that you feel connected to. You feel that you belong to something bigger than yourself. When you return, the disconnect with your tribe or people that really understand you can be unnerving. We return in the United States and then we're placed back with our families, or in some cases, we come back to an empty house or apartment. And then we're expected to sort out the deployment experiences on our own. Mental health services are offered, but before long, the operational tempo begins to pick up again and you start training for that next deployment. Speaking of mental health and veterans, if you're a veteran in crisis or if you're concerned about one, please call the phone number down below, 1 800 273 8255, and press 1. Well, that wraps up my video on why do veterans miss war. If you have any questions or comments, or you feel like I missed something, please leave that down below. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.